What's going on, gamers? It's Daily Tactics here, back with some more Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2. This battle was recommended by Big Fish over on Discord, and he wanted me to basically represent modern nations in Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2. So I thought that's a good idea. Over here, we have 2 million British soldiers, aka the Redcoats. Over here, we have 1.5 million American soldiers, aka the World War II Americans. Up top here, we have Germany with 1 million soldiers, aka the German Army of World War II. And to the left, we have Italy, aka the Romans, with 3 million soldiers. So, let's get into this. Alrighty then, gamers, here we are in the game itself, and we have our 2 million Redcoats here charging, and then every corner of the battlefield has the other units as well. Now, the reason I chose these units are because, well, the Redcoats and the Germans and the Americans are all the closest thing we have to actual modern day soldiers. They're the closest time period, being the 18th century. Everyone else is like way farther back than that. And the reason I chose the Romans to represent the Italians, well, is because, you know, Rome was primarily based in Italy, or at least the heart of Rome, and they have shields that can deflect projectiles a little bit. So despite them being a melee unit, which is going to be especially weak against these guns, they'll have those shields able to deflect a lot of the incoming fire and hopefully survive. Now, I also tried to balance out these teams as best I could. So 3 million Romans is obviously there because they're a melee unit, and they're not going to be very powerful, let's be honest here. There's 1 million German soldiers who are in this corner over this way because they have the best gun. The Kar 98K is an absolute dominant force on this battlefield. It's the longest range and also packs the meanest punch of all the weapons. So these guys only have 1 million. They have the lowest amount because of that. And then we've got the US, who has the second lowest amount at 1.5 million because their SMGs, they're good, you know, they have rapid fire and stuff like that, but they have terrible range. So they're sort of middle of the ground there, and then the Redcoats are worse than the US as well as the Germans, but not quite as bad as the Romans, so they're sort of in that middle ground right there. Either way, guys, if you really enjoy this video, please be sure to hit that like button. It helps me out a ton in the algorithm. And here we have actually the first fire starting off with the Redcoats versus the oncoming Roman soldiers over this way. Be sure to subscribe as well if you haven't already. We're trying to hit 500,000 subscribers by the end of 2022. That's our goal for the year. If you want to help me try and reach that goal, that would be phenomenal. And comment down below what other video ideas you guys have for me in Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2. I have a little notebook of all my ideas. Some of them include, like, and if any of these appeal to you, let me know. Full auto catapult with fire, so a flamethrower catapult sort of. Flooding the Nile River while a battle happens around it. A Crusader Knights siege could be kind of cool. A line battle siege using musket units could be kind of neat. Flamethrower bridge defense could be cool, as well as the MG42 bridge defense could be kind of cool. I've also got nuking Germany, where we have the US fight Germany and we nuke Germany mid-battle. Could be kind of fun. And then, yeah, just a bunch of other little ones. Those are the ones I think will be probably turned into videos at some point, but just let me know in the comment section if any of those really strike you and you're like, ooh, I'd like to see that. That'd be pretty cool. Either way, the Romans over here are not quite reaching the Redcoats. A couple of them are coming real close to actually. Oh, there we go. A couple of them did kill some Redcoats. There you go. Yeah, nice. So the Romans are reaching the Redcoats over here. They're having a hard time, but they're doing it somewhat. Luckily for them, the Redcoats, of course, are you know, one of the weaker units in terms of range units, so they will be able to reach them pretty decently. Over here, the Germans and the Americans are currently fighting. Germany is Team 3. The Americans are Team 2. The Redcoats are Team 1, and Team 4 are the Romans. Hopefully I remember that. But if I don't and I screw up at some point, just look at the top right and remember it for yourself, and you can see the positions of all the units right now. But either way, the US is engaging with the Germans at the moment. They have gotten close enough to actually hit the Germans, and the Germans need to be far less close to fire, so they have probably more units firing, but the US does have that rapid fire going for them, so that's going to be real nice. And let's see if the Germans are also engaging with the Romans. Okay, this is actually all Germans heading this way towards the Romans, and it looks like they are, in fact, engaging with the Romans as well. The Romans have only got 90 kills at the moment, and they're already down to 2.6 million soldiers. So the Italian faction that we have on the battlefield today is clearly not having a very fun time. We do have them killing some Germans over here, so that's not too bad. There you go. Not too shabby. Oh god, the Romans are screwed, man. They're not gonna have a fun time. Why don't we go ahead and do a time lapse for this battle of the Romans surging forward, trying to kill some Germans over this way. Alright, so after that time lapse, the Romans not doing too hot. They basically lost against the Germans. This is all they've got over here, still fighting the Germans. The Romans have a total of 1,600 kills. Yikes. Not big cash money mogul moves plays right there. No siree bob. Against the Redcoats, I think they did a little bit better at the very least. But still not great. I mean, look at the body piles over here of dead Romans. Absolute yike-a-rooney. Jeez, man. So the Romans do have 1.3 million left, which is a lot. But, yeah, you know, they're probably all going to die. Right now, the Germans have 767,000 remaining, which is a lot. That's a pretty good amount. They've only lost 250k. And the Americans have lost 500k. They're currently at 1 million soldiers left alive. I don't know if they ever went over this way to engage. Oh, they did go engage with the Redcoats. Oh, interesting. I never even noticed this part of the battle. Okay. So we do have US soldiers over here engaging with Redcoats. It looks like they are winning this battle by a lot. Speaking of Redcoats, the Redcoats still have 1.8 million remaining, and I think the majority of their losses came from over here against the US, and over against the Romans is where their main force is currently. So Redcoats are doing pretty well for themselves. The Redcoats currently have 1.5 million kills because they've primarily been fighting the Romans. The US has 417,000 kills. The Germans have 845,000 kills, and the Romans have 2,600 kills. That's a yikes from me, dog. Alright, we'll go ahead and let this go for a while longer while we go ahead and do another time lapse over here. This time, the Romans charging the Redcoats, I suppose, could be kind of fun. Enjoy, boys. Alright, so the Romans are almost completely kaput here. Right now they have 7,000 kills, which is an improvement, but not by much. So they're kind of still charging over here and getting slaughtered as they go. Rip to the Romans. SMH. SMH. So Redcoat's doing great against them. Right now, the Germans are almost at half of their force. They've got about 5.8 million soldiers left alive. They seem to still be fighting the US over there, and I'm sure there's some probably wrapping around to fight the Redcoats once the Romans are dead over that way. Meanwhile, the Redcoats are looking at 1.7 million soldiers left alive, so they've lost about 300,000. And the US are looking at 580,000 left alive. Sorry. So they've lost almost 1 million soldiers at this point. So It's looking like at the end of this battle, it could end up being the Redcoats versus the Germans here, with the Romans and the US getting knocked out of the fight fairly early on. You know, both have had some fairly underwhelming performances, and I think that's simply due to the range of the Redcoats and the Germans. Having those rifles is just so much more effective than having, well, swords and a shield as well as SMGs, despite the numbers being on the sides of, you know, the US and the Romans against the Germans. And, well, the US does seem to be doing pretty well against the Redcoats, but the Redcoats are still managing to get some licks in against them. So, you know, it's tough out here. Either way, we'll let this ride for a while and see what happens, of course. Quick update from the battlefield. It looks like the Romans are all dead at this point in time. Their body piles stacked up across the land here. And now the Redcoats are going to be charging the Germans over this way. Ja, jawohl. We've actually got a little bit of a mountain skirmish over here, which is pretty cool. Redcoats holding the mountain at a better angle than the Germans, it looks like, over this way. So we'll see what ends up developing from these fellers over here. That'll be pretty cool to see. In fact, look at this. Germans rounding up, trying to shoot over the hill, but getting slaughtered by the Redcoats. It looks like the Redcoats were trying the same a little bit earlier too, so it'll be kind of cool to see who ends up securing victory on this little mountainous area. But the Germans do have more forces, it seems, readily available over here than the Redcoats. We've also got the Redcoats just now placing down units over this way to fight against the Germans. Again, another sort of lip hill scenario going on here where they can just sort of barely fire at one another right now. So you know, we'll see who comes out of this thing victorious as well. Looks like about even losses between the two. Right now, the Germans only have 506,000 soldiers left. The U.S. has 442,000 soldiers left, and the Redcoats have 1.6 million soldiers left, which is a lot more Redcoats. However, their weapons will be struggling probably against the Germans over here. What happened to the Germans versus the US over this way? Yeah, let's find out. Okay, it looks like we have one of those bugs where there's like one US soldier like glitched in the map. Yep, here he is. The Titan soldier. Basically, what you want to do to fix this is figure out what team he's on and then try and move him. And then when he moves, he can die. There we go. And that'll free up the Germans over here. And they'll go start fighting other US soldiers who aren't glitched, and it looks like there are a bunch of them actually over here in the forest. They're doing a little bit of a forest charge over here, and fighting against the Germans this way, and hopefully getting some kills on these fellas. Meanwhile, the US over here, let's find out what they're doing, yeah? Alright, looks like the US did wipe out the Redcoats over here. There's a bunch of them heading up into like the mountainous region over this way. Maybe there's like a couple Redcoats back here or something like that. I'm not entirely sure where they're going, but it's pretty unique. Yeah, what are you fellas doing? Where are you heading? You're just ascending into the mountains, apparently. Well, you do you. Maybe it's a stall tactic, who knows. But we do have a number of Redcoats actually heading this way towards that US area over there. They might have been wanting to reinforce their troopers over here, or they want to go avenge them, not totally sure, but they'll go meet the US over there, which will be probably a pretty cool battle to see. Alright, that battle did end up coming to fruition over here with the US engaging the Redcoats. They, of course, have to charge a little bit closer to the Redcoats than the Redcoats have to charge to them, but the fire rate of their guns is going to be just so much better than the Redcoats, so pretty high hopes for the US boys over this way. You know I'm rooting for the US. It's my home nation, baby. Over here with the Germans, yeah. I assume the Germans probably defeated that U.S. force by now. I cannot imagine they have not. Let's find out, though. Yeah, it looks like they did. Yeah, and now they're just kind of putzing about. They don't really know what to do. That kind of happens with the AI after they defeat a force. So now the Germans are just kind of doing nothing over here. But over this way, we have the Germans engaging with the Redcoats still, and it looks like the Redcoats might even surround them with enough troopers over here, which could be pretty cool to see. Right now, the German army, yeah, is, you know, kind of spreading out across this plain. My dog got a new ball. That's what that noise is in the background. This battle over here on this little lip is still going on, with both sides taking some pretty hefty losses. And this battle on this lip is also still going on with heavy losses for both sides, although it looks like the Germans probably suffered more losses overall over here. So, oh, we've even got soldiers up here now. Look at this. The Redcoats doing like an above-ground flank. Wow, they've got the high ground, baby. That's pretty gnarly right there. That's some nar-nar, boys. So I imagine these Germans will lose to the Redcoats, and it's a matter of what these Germans over here on the other side of the mountain end up doing in this battle. It appears as though the U.S. has won this battle against the Redcoats over here. There's very small numbers, so they fought over here, they beat them, and now they're fighting over here and beating them again. Maybe they'll continue this way and beat more Redcoats eventually, which would be kind of cool. The Redcoats seem to be having a little bit of trouble defeating this smaller German force. The Germans are just refusing to die out over here and managing to stay for a very, very long time. The British are going to have quite a bit of trouble over here, I think, for a while, as the Germans are very resilient over that way. And then these Germans over this way, they are spreading out and coming towards the U.S. over here right now. You can see them right here. Wait, are those Redcoats? Oh no, they just looked red because they're so bloody. They're actually heading this way towards the U.S., and then maybe some will splinter off towards the Redcoats as well. So these U.S. soldiers are actually going to end up killing these Redcoats and then having to turn around and fight more Germans. The poor U.S., they have been so busy during this battle. So unbelievably busy. And they're just going to get busier from now on. Right now, the Germans have 341,000 soldiers left. The U.S. has 278,000 soldiers left. And the Redcoats have 1.39 million soldiers left. All right, here we have it. The U.S. is now engaging with the Germans over here. They did defeat those Redcoats and are now fully mobilizing against the Germans. So we're going to have this shootout going on right now. Germans losing soldiers. I'm sure the U.S. are also losing soldiers here. Let's see. Not as rapidly, actually. I'm seeing a few go down, but definitely saw more Germans going down over this way, so that's kind of interesting. I think the Germans are going to be trickling in a bit more than the U.S. The U.S. has a better functioning army over here at the moment. These guys are going to have to get their reinforcements all mobilized, and it looks like, yes, a bunch of them are going to be heading over towards the Redcoats over here. Actually, I have no idea what they're doing. Looks like a couple Redcoats might have sprinkled this way and died. I don't know, but either way, maybe they'll actually flank the Redcoats over this way and try and support this dwindling German force over here, which is balled up right here, and then they still have a small amount over here holding to prevent a mega flank of the rest of their force. All right, the U.S. is now officially at about 100,000 soldiers left alive. A far cry from the 1.5 million they started with. The Germans are at 152,000. And the Redcoats still have 1.3 million. The Redcoats popping off this game, which is crazy. We have a number of German soldiers fighting against the Redcoats over this way. They're fighting an uphill battle again. I don't know how the Redcoats keep managing to get the high ground. It's very, very impressive. And these Germans over here are still alive somehow. They're just a dying breed, it appears. It's like... It's just not going the Germans' way, man. It just is not going the Germans' way. So the U.S. is likely to be the next to die, and then the Germans after that. And the Redcoats will likely win this thing, I'm thinking, by a lot, by a long shot. I think they just had a really easy starting position because they pretty much just had to deal with the Romans. You know? It wasn't too big of a deal. Like, they wiped out a number of Romans. So I feel like that just sort of gave the Redcoats the edge, man. Alright, so the Germans over here on the left all died out. Now it's just these Germans here fighting Redcoats, and then these Germans here fighting the U.S. The Germans are down to 39,000 soldiers. The U.S. is down to 27,000 soldiers. This battle is very close to ending with a dominant victory for the Redcoats, who still are holding on to 1.3 million and just ended up dominating the second half of this battle. Just absolutely took over and took names. Crazy. So in a bit of a twisty twist, we actually have the U.S. and the Germans being about even right now. The Germans have 16,900 troopers left, and the U.S. has 15,700 troopers left. So they're actually very, very on par now, which is kind of crazy to think about, considering the fact that the Germans were so far ahead of the U.S. for such a long time. But yeah, I mean, the Germans are probably going to lose first at this point in time. In fact, they're just about to pass the U.S. in terms of number of troopers left, and they just did. So Germans are probably going to go down first, then the U.S. is going to be quick to follow. All right, so the U.S. just defeated the Germans over here and are now attacking some redcoats who ended up coming their way, and they're gunning down actually quite a number of redcoats over here pretty decently. The Germans are doing their last stand over this way. It seems like all of them are up on this hill here, and yeah, actually that's all of them right there. All 7,500 Germans chilling at the top of that hill right there. That's about it. Scout is sneezing behind me now. So Germans are going to go first, then the U.S. It's pretty anticlimactic ending here. Alright, so the U.S. apparently all died over here, but I have no idea where the rest of their soldiers are. Apparently they still have 1,100 troops left, so that's confusing. And then there's definitely not 3,300 Germans over here. But that's how many they supposedly have left. So I'm thinking some troops are glitched somewhere on the map because I don't see them, and I've been looking around a little bit too. So I think some troops are definitely glitched on the map. Either way, these last Germans are dying out here, and with them goes the last hopes of victory. The Germans ended up losing all of their troopers. They got, let's see, 1.8 million kills, very impressive. The US got 1.2 million kills, the Redcoats got 3.1 million kills, and the Romans got 8,500 kills. Either way, that's going to be about it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below if you'd like to see some more. Alright guys, peace!
I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Be sure to click that subscribe button for more content, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be alerted to whenever I live stream or upload. Thanks so much.
Also, if you guys want to join our private Minecraft server, all you gotta do is join as a Patreon member, a Twitch sub, or a YouTube channel member. Once you've done that, you can message me on those platforms or on Discord, and I'll whitelist you on the server. It's a great time. Feel free to join.